So I'll just do a little overview. So the session today will be about balance, and we'll start lying down, and then we'll move into some warm ups. We'll be in table pose, and then we'll be in standing. And so a couple of things that you may want to have. So for table pose, if you like to pad your knees, use a blanket or a towel. And then I have a yoga block here, which you may or may not have. So you can use a book. Probably a kind of a thicker paperback book would work best, or you can use like a can of vegetables. So anything that you can improvise with that you have at home to have. So we're not going to be putting a lot of weight in it, but we're going to use it in our balancing practice. Okay, great. So we're just about to start. And let's go ahead and start lying down. Okay, so go ahead and lie back on your mat, and I'm going to go be on my mat also. So lying on your back, just take a moment to settle into your position. Beginning to notice your breathing. Letting the abdomen rise and fall with the breath. Rising on the inhale and falling on the exhale. And go ahead and place your hands on your belly. Feel the belly rising and falling. Just using your hands to create this connection between your body, your breath. Just feeling the breath under your hands. And letting your mind follow the breath. So everything comes together, the body, the breath, and the mind. And then bring your arms down to the floor. Opening your eyes. Now, bend your knees. Go ahead and reach your arms out towards your knees, placing palms on top of the knees. And we're just going to be continuing to notice our breathing and move the knees with the breath, drawing them in towards the torso on the exhale and moving them out on the inhale. Just small movements, small, easy movements. So today we're going to be focusing on balance. How do we find balance? What's involved in this? Now with your next exhale, go ahead and draw the knees all the way in towards your chest. And then as you inhale, stretch out your arms and your legs. So arms go overhead and your feet press up towards the ceiling. And then on the exhale, hug the knees in again. And just keep moving like that. Inhaling, stretching out with the arms and the legs. Exhaling, drawing in. And here, notice the balance between the belly and the lower back. So notice how the belly and the lower back are working together here. Neither one working too hard. Now begin to open your legs a little bit wider. So as your arms go up, your legs can go out into kind of a V shape. And still noticing how the breath and the movement can go together. And then draw the knees all the way in. And holding on to your right knee, begin and just stretch your left leg out on the floor. So you're reaching out through the left leg, through the left heel, letting it come all the way down. And breathing into the belly. And then bring it in. And take your right leg out. Reaching out, just lengthening. Let your leg grow all the way from the belly as you reach. And pause here, noticing your breath. And then come back to center. And drawing the knees in. And then go ahead and stretch your legs out on the floor. Lying flat for a moment. Now bend your knees. Bring the feet together and the knees apart. So just here, taking a moment to let the inner thighs release. Feel the breath in the belly, letting the inner thighs open. Let your back relax. And then exhale and slowly bring the knees together. Now keep your right knee bent and stretch your left leg out on the floor. And then turn your right knee out. So it's like you're doing tree pose lying on your back. Your left leg is straight, your right knee is bent and turned out. And then just as comfortable for your shoulders, take your arms up overhead. So maybe they'll go part way up, maybe they'll go further up. Also, there's an option for you to take the arms out to the sides if that's better for the shoulders. So whichever position you're taking, take a moment to feel your left hip and your right hip, just noticing how there's an asymmetrical action going on. Just notice how your body balances that. Lengthen out through the left heel as your right knee turns out. And then exhaling, bring your right knee in, bring the arms down, bend the left knee, and then stretch your right leg out. Making the right leg long, and then turn your left knee out. So taking our tree pose variation on the other side, choosing your arm position. And then lengthening here through the straight leg and through the arms. Noticing the breath, finding length. And exhale, arms down. Straighten your left leg out. Just take a moment to balance out the two sides. And then bend your knees and roll to one side. Then bring yourself up. So we're going to transition to table pose. So if you like, you can pat your knees. I like to use a blanket under my knees. And we're going to be on our hands and knees, table pose. So just take a moment here to find your position. And we'll start by moving the hips back towards your heels. And feel the lower back rounding a little bit and just lengthening back. And then on the inhalation, bringing the chest forward and let your shoulders scoot back a little bit, just lengthening the upper back, lengthening the neck. And we'll go back and forth a few times. Rounding back on the exhale. Coming into table, extending on the inhale. And then going back into child's pose, just pausing for a moment, just a couple of breaths here. You can support your forehead. You can let your head rest on the floor. Just taking a couple of breaths. And inhale, come back. So let's be in table pose. Let's find a stable position. So as we work with balance, we start from a stable position. Let's take the right leg straight back. And my toes are still touching the floor. So as I start here, I already notice how my body shifts to adapt to this asymmetrical pose. Now let's pick up the leg, lifting the foot off the floor. Just noticing how balance works here. So our lives lately have been kind of thrown out of balance a little bit. So what do we do? How do we recreate that balance? How do we notice the process of balancing our lives? Let's bring the right leg back in, recentering. And let's bring the left leg back, starting with the toe in contact with the floor. Just lightly touching. So we'll be doing a little more of that. So my toe is kind of on the floor, but I'm not resting the leg on the floor. I'm just using the floor more as a point of reference. And then go ahead and pick up the foot, lifting it off the floor, just an inch or two, not way up. Noticing the balance here. And then bring it back in. Let's take the right leg back. Once again, just sliding it back and holding it off the floor. And then we're going to add the left arm. So opposite sides. Okay, balancing here. So getting a little more challenging. So just notice. Can we still breathe smoothly? Can we stay centered as we navigate this challenge? So, this may be not a big challenge. Maybe it is a challenge. So just notice. And then let's step back in. And we'll bring the left leg back. Reaching the right arm forward. So notice where does the balance come from? So also the balance is never rigid. So it's not like, okay, I found it and now I'm staying right here and not moving, right? So we're always moving a little bit. We're always making adjustments because things change all the time. And then step back in. Go ahead and bring the hips back towards the heels. Bring the head down, just rest in child's pose. Notice your breathing. With your next inhalation, go ahead and roll up. And we're going to come up to standing. So whatever you have here to use as your prop, please grab that and just keep it next to you. So we'll start in a standing position. And just take a moment here. So of course we balance all the time. Our bodies are made to balance. So as you're standing upright, notice what's happening here. Take a moment to notice the soles of your feet. So when I start paying attention to the feet, I notice that there's constant shifting. One moment, I feel the weight on one side, then I can feel the weight on the other side. Just little shifts. Notice that balancing. Now to work with balance today, we're going to use a focal point. So in yoga, it's called drishti. It's a point that you can use to focus your gaze, and it helps to add the kind of the mental aspect there, or the mental strength to help us balance. So just think of where you're going to focus your eyes. So it can be straight out on the horizon. It can be more like on the floor in front of you. So you can choose right now where you want to focus your eyes. You could be looking out of the window. So just the direction you're facing. So feel free to adjust your position so you can have something to focus on. So just standing still, maintaining the weight, maintaining balance, and finding that focal point. And notice your breathing. Let the breath stay smooth and steady. And then start shifting the weight into your right leg. So just grounding through the right leg and then lifting and lengthening through the right side, maintaining that length. So as your right side becomes longer, it's like you get a little taller and then you don't really need your left leg. So you can pick up your left heel, lifting the left heel off the floor. And so just notice that it's a slight shift to notice how the body reacts. What do we do to balance here? So hanging out right here, maybe with a toe just continuing to lift. Now maybe the toe lightly touching the floor. You can open the arms out a little bit. And then perhaps picking up the foot and just balancing. So again, no particular place you need to be, right? It's just the process. We're going in and out of balance constantly. And the tricky part is to notice. Notice when we're out of balance and how we move in and out of balance. Let's come back to center. And then grounding through the left leg, again, getting a little bit taller through the side, picking up the right heel, staying tall. So maintaining the gaze, your focus, picking up the foot, perhaps lifting it off the ground. Noticing how does balance work on this side. And then bring the foot down. Just take a moment to recenter. So now let's go ahead and use our prop. Block, or you can even use a folded blanket, just something to lightly rest the foot on. So I learned this from Diane Bondy, who came to teach a workshop at the studio a few months back. So we're going to start. I have my prop in front of my right foot right now. So we're going to shift the weight. Let's stand on the left leg now, just grounding and lifting through the left side. And then picking up the right heel. I'm going to put my right toe onto the block. Just notice how this pose works for you. You can keep using your focal point, your drishti. So the toe is touching your prop, but you're not relying on it for balance. It's just maybe a little support or just a point of reference, balancing here. And then release. You can just step to the side so you can use the prop for the other leg. So grounding and lifting through the opposite side now. I'm standing on my right leg. And then the left toe resting lightly on the block. As you find your balance here. Notice the breath. Notice your mind also. So I always find that, I don't balance very easily. So whenever I do a balancing pose, it's always like my mind starts, I can't do that. Like I'm not good at this. So just notice what your mind is telling you. And notice if it's helpful or not. So finding balance here. And then back to center. So let's move our prop now. We're going to do more of a turning the knee out to the side, so to make this more like a tree pose. And we're going to use the block. So now I'm going to be standing on my left leg and lengthening through the left side. Picking up the right heel. So here's the block. It's a little bit to the side. And I'm turning my knee out. And, just do what feels good for your hip. So notice how the setup changes when we start turning the knee out. So maybe you're more aware of your hips, maybe more aware of the lower back. Let's start with the palms in front. So noticing smooth breath, and just notice, where does the balance come from? Notice what's involved. So we're focusing our gaze. We are using our core to support the body. Just notice how the core needs to be active to support here. Notice how the hips tend to tilt slightly to help us find that balance. Notice the foot and the ankle working on your standing leg, as well as the bent knee leg. And now let's slowly release. And we're going to switch sides. So just move your prop around. Grounding now through the other leg. Pick up your foot, turn the knee out. Bring the palms in front. So finding our tree pose variation right here. And again, just checking in. How do we balance? What's involved here? What are your inner resources that you're using to maintain balance? Can we keep our breath smooth here? So as we stay here, notice what changes. And then release and bring your foot down. So we're going to do another round of this tree pose, and you have a choice, okay? You can still use your block, or you can go without the block or your prop, whichever you're using. So I'm going to try to go without. So we'll start on the left leg again. And here, with the prop or without the prop, let's start with the toes lightly touching the floor or the prop. And then you have an option of picking up the foot and bring the palms in front. So just noticing, we go in and out of balance, right? We're not rigid. The balance is always dynamic. In fact, the more rigid we get, the harder it is to maintain balance. So here you can go ahead and stretch your arms up. Always rebalancing, shifting, finding the center. And then go ahead and release. And just pause for a moment. Just notice maybe the ankle feels a little bit tired. Whatever you notice in your body. And then we'll shift the weight into the other leg. So I'm grounding through my right leg now, and then picking up the heel and turning the knee out. And bring the palms in front. So this is a perfectly fine tree pose. So there's already a lot going on. So you can hang out right here. Or you can pick up that foot. Keeping the palms in front. So again, finding your balance, finding your edge perhaps. Reaching up and grounding down. Staying connected to your breath. Just noticing, what does it take to balance here? And then releasing as you're ready. Coming back to standing position, back to mountain pose. Taking a moment here and mountain pose. Go ahead and close your eyes for a moment. Just checking in with your body. Feeling the legs, the hips, torso, arms and shoulders. And then open your eyes. So we'll try one more pose. And we'll need to step back. So just check that you are standing in a way that allows you to take a step back. So take your hands to your hips and step your left leg back. Just going to take a easy stance for warrior one pose. Bend your right knee. Let's do cactus arms. So just take a moment to notice. So whenever we have our legs wider, there's already balancing involved. So feel free to stay right here. If you'd like to take it another step, you can take your arms up and interlace your fingers, pointing the index finger. So this is what I'm doing with my hands here, just so you can see. So from here, I'm just going to kind of playfully shift forward and shift back. Shifting forward, shifting back. Okay, so maybe this is all that you want to do right now. Shifting forward, shifting back. Just being mindful of your body, of your knees. And then if you want to take it a little bit further, perhaps getting a little more towards horizontal and reaching the arms forward and the leg back, just finding your balance here. And then stepping back. Release your arms. Take your hands to your hips and step in. Just taking a moment to recenter, to check in with the body. And then take your other leg back. So now left leg forward, right leg back. And again, starting with cactus arms, staying right there. Or reaching up. And here, and this side, and two sides, and you probably know that in your own body, two sides are different. So if you did something one way on one side, you don't have to expect to do it the same way on the other side. And so if you wish to take it a step further, perhaps moving towards horizontal, reaching the arms forward, reaching the leg back, staying connected to the breath here, and just noticing how to balance. And then stepping back as you're ready. And stepping in. Just taking a moment here again to check in with the body. Now let's make our way to sitting. Just going to move in a little closer. So we're just going to finish up with an egg balance. I really like doing it. So I'm going to wrap the arms around the knees, and you can even hold the backs of your thighs or in front of the shins, just whatever works in your body. So from here, I'm going to lift my heels, and then I'm picking up the feet and I'm leaning back slightly. So it's kind of easy in this pose to just hang back. So what I want you to do is to continue lifting through the pelvic floor, through the belly, and all the way through the crown of the head, just balancing here. And then bring your feet down. So we'll do this one more time, and if you have your arms crossed, you can try the other arm on top. And picking up the feet, just drawing in, getting really compact and lifting up. Breathing. And then lower the feet. Take a step forward. So now take your hands to the backs of your thighs. Let me turn. And you'll pick up your ankles here. So just a balancing in a modified boat pose. You can keep your knees bent. You can make them a little bit straighter, whatever works for you, keeping the spine long. A couple more breaths here. So here, noticing what helps you stay up there, what supports you. And then bring the knees down. Stretch your legs out. Now just bend your right knee and step your right foot over your left knee, and we're going to twist. Wrap the arm around the knee and twist, turning your whole torso and turning the head. And then releasing and going to the other side, stepping the foot over the other leg, wrapping around and twisting, lifting and turning. And come back to center, stretching the legs out. And now go ahead and line your back. So I'm going to stay seated. I'll just talk you through a relaxation. So as you line your back, take a moment to draw the knees in towards your chest, bring the arms around your knees. Just rock side to side, massaging your back against the floor. Relax your neck, so you might notice that your head might also roll side to side. And then eventually settle in the middle. And stretch your legs out on the floor, just lying flat on the floor. Closing your eyes. Take a moment here to feel your whole body, starting with your feet and your legs. Feel the hips, belly, lower back, middle back, upper back, chest. Feel your hands, arms, shoulders, neck, jaw, face. Feel your whole body. Just be aware of your body as sensation. And then begin to notice your breath. Rising and falling in the body breathing itself. Easy and rhythmic. And drawing awareness inward. To a place of balance and peace that's always inside us. We can always draw on. You're noticing, how do you feel that in your body? That sense of balance, peace. Being aware of it as sensation in the body. And now let your breath become deeper. And just becoming aware of the space around you, the outer edges of your body, and remaining right where you are. Let your eyes softly open. And with your eyes open, still remaining connected to that place of your inner balance, inner resource. And then as you're ready, start moving the fingers and the toes, waking up the body. Bending the knees. And then rolling onto your side. And making your way up to sitting. And just taking a moment here in a seated position to stay connected to the body. And to your inner resource. And then if you wish, you can bring your palms together in front of the heart. And just thanking yourself for taking this time this morning to do some yoga, to spend time with yourself. Namaste. Thank you.